It's official. We are in paradise. And if you don't believe me, check it out. So we are here this morning. We need to feed the fish. But let me turn around here. Get the sun the right way. Okay, but I want to throw a couple updates out there. You know, I keep chattering about these fish in the pond, the tilapia, what's what. I think we've figured them all out now. Those ones I keep seeing swim around the top, those are the tilapia. They are light colored, I assume, because of the color of the water. But when we were down in Trot on the way back, I mentioned that we had picked up some fish food that is specifically made, specifically made for fish that eat plants. So now I have to feed twice. I feed on the Salah like you have seen many times. And then I have this secondary food that we purchased in Trot. Actually, it was in Surin, but it was on the way back from Trot. But I take that and I come around this end of the pond and throw that in. And the tilapia that I'm just going to say I don't see at the other end because these are the smaller tilapia. Apparently they don't like being with the other fish, but they'll come up and they eat this stuff. And it's basically all that's there is a tilapia. So I think we got the fish figured out, the fish food figured out. So now we just keep feeding and try to keep people out of there. I don't know if you caught that when I spun the camera around, but last Wednesday we signed a contract to have our perimeter walls, retaining walls, whatever you want to call them, built. And last night after 6:30, 7 o'clock in the dark, sorry about the sun, last night, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the dark, they came out here and delivered the posts for the perimeter walls. They're going to put pilings, which I believe is what these are because they're pointed. They're going to drive these in the ground to support the wall from that post to this post. And then down that other side, we dug out the property markers yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't remember. Sompit and I went out there and crawled through the weeds and shoveled and dug and found all the property markers along this side to make sure that these are on our side of the property. But anyhow, they're going to get this stuff started tomorrow, which is Sunday. And tomorrow, the builder that we're signing with is going to be here, and we are going to sign a contract for to build the house right here. They said they could start immediately, but they asked if it was okay if they waited till after the holidays to start, just because of the holidays. I don't have a problem with that. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. And it's going to be a lot of videos, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to get into all the details when they're building. This is not a do-it-yourself project, home building channel. Yesterday, we went to Global House in Canthalac, which is just whatever, 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers from here, and bought a solar light, remote control solar light, to put on that pole. Sompit's over there right now on the phone with someone to see if they'll come and put it up there at the top of that pole for us. Typically, I would do something like that myself, but I don't have a ladder that tall, so we're trying to get a hold of Gat, the guy that did the electrical wires for us, or Wood, who borrows Gat's ladder. See if one of them will put that light up there for us before these people get here. The workers are going to put a shack here on the property during the build, which is pretty common over here. My guess is they'll probably put it right over here somewhere because we have my sunshade here. I'm going to rope off this first section here so that they have a place they can take a break out of the sun during the day. But I'm assuming they're going to put that over here because there's really no construction going to happen over here. A lot of things going on, nothing major other than they delivered the posts, piles, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, things are going to start happening tomorrow. And from there out, we're going to be busy hanging out here in the Salah, watching them build our wall and build our house.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu. mẹ thôi rồi đi với thì tôi cao anh vì anh còn cháu nuông còn cháu chỉ lự đùng lự nên nhập chỉ tu nữ bí
Nghe tật nghe nè tật lắm tật ra qua cắm phèn nhuông thằng này cũng được đúng tật nằm sông nằm bàn châu
mẹ làm súng làm bàn chạy cái chuồn việc gì chẳng thấy nhuông còn cháu ăn nuông nè anh đi anh đang bị phải đi nên là tu
Wangan makan lo saat รียบร้อยทะลุที่เกิดปัญหา
เกิดปัญหาเนปัญหาตู้
อันมาธรณีเมตตาจะแม่จะปกปักคุ้มครองปัญหา
đang là
น้ำหนูของข้าคือในเจ้าน้ำหนูคือบ้านในธรณี
Forgot.
nấu cái món thịt vịt mà
อ้าวเหรอบินเตบลูบินเอ็มโนเจิงยกเกาะยงกับเบิ้ล
giờ có ai cũng biết hơi mệt rồi cái gì
ตาเดือดตัวนี้ตาเดือดตัวนี้กับตั๊กวะ
đập tức rồi cho ngồi ai cũng biết
So, as you just saw, we had to have another ceremony because this is the official ceremony that's going to start construction. As you can see, they delivered pilings to start the wall. They're supposed to be here today to set up a camp, probably over here somewhere, for the workers to stay in. But they'll take these piles. What I believe is they'll just drive them in the ground, and I think they're going to start in this corner, obviously, but from this post across that post and that post down to the front, and they're going to drive one of these in, I think, every 3 meters. I assume they'll run them in up to about a meter out of the ground, I'm assuming, or so, half meter, and then they'll pour a beam on top of them, and then they will drop panels in them, and then they'll pour a beam on top of the panels. And the top of the wall should be about a half meter above ground level right up here. We've got a couple things we need to do. We've got to take Mom out to the rubber farm. She wants to go out there for a couple days. We've got a couple things we need to do this morning before we take her out there and before they arrive to start building the shack. One of them, for what good it'll do, is this. Basically, it just says keep out or don't trespass or authorized personnel or something like that. Or you'll get in trouble. That's what the red says. But we're going to put that right there on the other side of that fence to try to keep people out of our fish. We had people in there the other night. My pump's not working now. They threw all the food in the water. Pissed me off. But anyhow, we're going to get busy so we can get Mom out to the farm. So it has begun. It is December 17th. I don't know when they started. We took Mom out to the rubber farm. We've only been gone like an hour and a half, I think. Okay, so the guy in a white jacket, that's Duke. He's the builder. They've got the trench dug around there. They stopped for quite a while because we wanted to work out the elevations because I want the top beam of the wall about a half meter above ground right here when you're up here, and then the posts a meter up from that to put the fence in. So we had to work out where we were going to use for a starting point, which is about halfway down that pole from that box is about where the top of the beam will be on the wall. And then we'll just have to come in and fill dirt level, whatever we got to do in here later on. But yeah, they got started. They are trenching this side. We did go through, find all the markers. They had a string line out to make sure they understood where it was at. We told them we want the wall just inside of our property. So yeah, they're working on that now. So this wall is going to come right up to where they just drilled that hole. And then we're going to step up here 2.5 meters and then run a wall down through there. And that will give us like a 2.5 meter wide gate. We'll fill this with dirt back in here, but give us 2.5 meter wide gate to go into the pond area. And the back of the house is going to be literally right where those tracks are, more or less. So we'll be right out the back door and into the pond. This dirt's just packing full of that auger, so he's having to pull it out and clean it out. But it looks like they got it cleaned out pretty good. It's about, well, it's 3:30 actually. They got here around probably 8 o'clock, I suppose, 8:30. And they got the trench, I don't know, 2/3 of the way down. So we're putting pilings. This is going to be considered a 2-meter wall, which is what they're digging. 2-meter wall all the way through here with pilings, but this is the only side we're going to do that on. The rest of it's not in a rice field, so it's not that big a deal. I counted 25 of these pilings this morning. So, and if they're three feet apart, that's 75 meters of piling. So there must only be 2. Because I thought he said he was doing 50 meters of piling. So they might be 2 meters apart. Anyhow, I'm not going to stand out here in the sun and watch them. I'm going to shut this camera off. I'm going to go over there, stretch out that hammock, and just kick back because we've been working all day. We put in a solar light up there. The builder just left here a little bit ago. We did sign the contract on the house and gave them the down payment. They said they'd put the pilings in for the house probably December 24th, but they're not going to have their guys go to work until after the first of the year, after the holidays, which is fine with me. I don't care. They're on a 200-day deadline now. Well, not now. From the time the first piling goes in, they're on a 200-day deadline. They did not build an employee shack out here today. These guys are close enough that they're not going to be staying here. So that employee town won't get built until they get ready to start going on the house. So with that, I'm going to get over here and relax for a little bit. Grab my cooler here out of the truck and call it a day, more or less. My solar light. Fence builders are back on site. They've been here about an hour. They went through and reset all these poles to make sure they're in a nice straight line. They are now working on digging another hole for another post. The ground is so wet and so much clay in it that it just plugs the auger up, so they got to pull it out and clean it out every single drill. While they're doing that, one thing I didn't mention in the videos yesterday is they are going to put a stay, what they call a stay, we'd probably call it an anchor, but it's a concrete anchor that's going to be tied to every one of these posts that'll get concreted back over and dropped into the ground over there. And they're going to do that all the way down this side and down this side. On the other 2 sides, they're going to do, I think, every other post. I don't know if you heard that, but there's a whole bunch of suction when he pulled up on that thing. and then we'll square it up. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Saturday, Sampit and I come out here and dug up these markers on this property line over here. And she went and told the guy in the gray shirt, the neighbor, to come over and take a look at it, make sure he was okay with everything. Well, it's now, 3 days later, 4 days later. He shows up and he was complaining because although we were on the right side of the markers, he wasn't going to have room to walk along his rice field without walking in the field. He wasn't going to have a canal here to walk on. Now this string isn't in the right place. I got it pushed out. It should be right on that concrete. But anyhow, so he come over here and wanted us to move the wall over so he'd have something to walk on. Ain't gonna happen. Told him we'll put the wall on the line and we'll put dirt on this side of it for him so he can have something to walk on. We ain't moving the wall just so he has something to walk on. It's just sloppy mud. So as you can see, they're moving along on the post. I'm not going to sit and videotape this whole process. When some new part of the process comes up, we'll show it to you, and then we'll just keep moving forward. The videos are probably going to be far and few between here for a little while because it's slow going right now. I believe once these guys get these posts in, the pilings put in, they'll probably bring in another team to start putting the beam in. We'll take a look at that, and then when they put the panels in, we'll take a look at that. But I'm not going to sit here and videotape every day and just show you the same shit every day. All right, it's been another long day at the office. They look like they're getting ready to wrap up over there. They got maybe 45 minutes left. They got like 3 or 4 pilings left to put in. I know a lot of the people watching this aren't necessarily into these projects. They're more into the lifestyle and stuff like that. So we're going to try to keep a blend of everything. With that said, I'd like to say welcome to all the new subscribers. We've picked up quite a few new subscribers lately, and we truly appreciate it. We do hope you enjoy the content. With that said, we're going to check out for the day. Thanks for joining us. Paradise in Thailand.